Good morning, student. Let's begin our social science class. Today I am going to start a new chapter NCRT History chapter The Rise of Nationalism in Europe. Contents Introduction Frederick Sorrow painting, Nation state and the French Revolution and the idea of the nation. These topic I am going to cover in this video. Let's start. Introduction Loyalty and devotion towards the nation by its citizens termed as nationalism. When we talk about nation, it is formed by a common language, race, religion, or territory. Means a nation is formed by a common language, race, religion, or territory. Now we are going to discuss the main topic nationalism in Europe. If we open the first page of this chapter, then we find out a picture given on the first page, and this picture is made by a French artist, Frederick Sorroy. A print that was a dream, a word made up of democratic and social republic. The first print of the series shows the people of the Europe and America, men and women of all ages and social classes, marching in a long train and offering homage to the Statue of Liberty as they pass by it. Artist of the time of the French Revolution personified liberty as a female figure. Here we can recognize the torch of enlightenment she bears in one hand and the charter of the rights of men in the other. Means artists of those days in French Revolution time personify liberty. They acknowledge liberty as a female figure and they represent this liberty female figure who holds the torch of enlightenment in one hand and the charter of rights of men in the other. On the earth, in the foreground of the image, like the shattered remains of the symbols of absolute institutions. When we talk about absolute institution, it means that the term refer to a form of monarchical government that was centralized, militarized, and repressive. Means all these symbols of absolute institution scattered or shattered in the foreground, means these are all abolished after French Revolution. In Sorro's utopian vision, the peoples of the world are grouped as distinct nations identified through their flags and national costumes. Leading the procession way past the Statue of Liberty are the United States and Switzerland, which by this time were already nation states. France, identifiable by revolutionary tricolor, has just reached the statue. She is followed by the people of Germany wearing the black, red, and gold flag. Interestingly, at this time, when Soroi created this image, the German people did not yet exist as a united nation. The flag they carry is an expression of liberal hopes in 1848 to unify the numerous German speaking principalities into a nation state under a democratic constitution. Following the German people of the are the people of Austria, the Kingdom of Two Sicilies, Lombardy, Poland, England, Ireland, Hungary, and Russia. From the heavens above, the Christ, saint, and angels gaze upon the scene. This picture shows that all from the heaven bless these revolutionary. They have been used by the artists to symbolize fraternity among the nations of the world. 19th century nationalism. In 19th century, nationalism became popular in European continent, changing its country. Now we are going to see what change occurred in 19th century in European countries. During the 19th century, nationalism brought about sweeping change in the political and mental world of Europe. What change? Nation state emerged in place of multinational dynastic empire of Europe. Means earlier multinational dynastic empire exists, now it replaced by the nation state. Before going to nation state, first we see the concept of modern state that had been developing over a long period of time in Europe. When we talk about the modern state, that is based on a centralized power, exercise sovereign control over a clearly defined territory, had been developing over a long period of time. So when we talk about modern state in which a centralized power exercises sovereign control over a clear defined territory, this is the concept of modern state. But a nation state is one in which the majority of citizen and not only its ruler come to develop a sense of common identity and shared history of descent, which were forged through struggles actions of leaders and the common people. So this is the difference between the modern state and nation state. Now question related to the topics. Mention five features of Frederick Sorrow painting, 5 mark, and describe the concept of nation state during 19th century in Europe, 3 mark. Now the second topic, the French Revolution and the idea of the nation. It all started with the French Revolution in 1789. The first clear expression of nationalism came with the French Revolution in 1789. France was a full fledged territorial state in 1789 under the rule of absolute monarch. The political and constitutional changes that came in the wake of the French Revolution led to the transfer of sovereignty from the monarchy to a body of French citizens. In France, there was king rule in 1789. The French Revolution took place in the same year. The revolution transferred the rule from the king to the French people. The French revolutionaries introduced various measures and practices that could create a sense of collective identity among the French people. So, what are the steps taken by French revolutionaries? Introduce various measures and practice that could create a sense of collective identity. Now, we are going to discuss all these points. The step taken by French revolutionary. Number one, ideas of fatherhood and the citizen were adopted. This you can write the ideas of la patrie, the fatherland, and la citoyen, the citizen, emphasize. Then a state journal was renamed the National Assembly. The State Journal was elected by the body of active citizens and renamed the National Assembly. A centralized administrative system established and was put in place of formulate uniform laws for all citizens within its territory. Internal custom duties were stopped. Internal custom duties and dues were abolished, and a uniform system of weight and measures was introduced. France made French as their official language, and this I have already discussed to you that uniform system of weight and measures was adopted or measurement were standardized. France made their own tricolor flag to replace the royal or former standard. French revolutionaries promised freedom to every European country. New national anthem composed, oath taken. So this is what the changes or a step taken by French revolutionary in to create a sense of collective identity among the French people. Mention any five measures taken by French revolutionary that could create a sense of collective identity among the French people. 5 mark, 5 point. Very important question. spread the nationalism to other parts of the Europe. As soon as the revolution took over in France, the news spread in nearby other European parts. When the news of the event in France reached to the different cities of Europe, students and other members of educated middle class began setting up Jacobin clubs. The French armies moved into Holland, Belgium, Switzerland, and much of Italy in the 1790s. With the outbreak of the Revolutionary Wars, the idea of nationalism spread abroad. Means French armies now reach to the Holland, Belgium, Switzerland, and much of Italy so that they can establish the same kind of um, uh, government as they established in France. Now, the Napoleon Bonaparte role within the wide swath of territory that came under Napoleon controlled the set about introducing many of the reforms that he had already introduced in France. Through a return to monarchy, Napoleon had no doubt destroyed democracy in the France, but in the administrative field, he had incorporated revolutionary principles in order to make the whole system more rational and efficient. When we talk about Napoleon, he destroyed democracy in France and again re established monarchy, but he introduced some administrative uh, measure that create a revolutionary change in France as well as other place where he ruled. So we are going to see these changes through the Napoleon Code. The Civil Code of 1804, usually known as Napoleonic Code, did away all the privileges based on birth, established equality before the law, and secured the right to the property. These all are the features of Napoleonic Code. This code was exported to the regions under French control. In the Dutch Republic, in Switzerland, in Italy, Germany, Napoleon simplified administrative division, abolished the feudal system, freed peasants from serfdom and manorial dues. Transport and communication system were improved. In the towns, too, guild restrictions were removed. Peasant, artisan, workers, and new businessmen enjoyed a new found freedom. So all these features represent the Napoleon took a change in administrative system. Question related topic: what changes did Napoleon introduce to make the administrative system more efficient in the territories ruled by him? 5 mark. Name the countries conquered by Napoleon. The reaction of the local people or population to French rule were mixed. I'm talking about the reaction on Napoleon encroachment, that French rule were mixed. Now we are going to see what was the reaction of local people, the areas which is governed by Napoleon. Initially, in many places, such as Holland and Switzerland, as well as in certain cities like Brussels, Mainz, Milan, and Warsaw, French armies were welcomed as harbingers of liberty. So these places welcome French army. The initial enthusiasm soon turned to the hostility as it became clear that the new administrative arrangements did not go hand in hand with political freedom. So now see the drawback of Napoleon administration in conquered places: increased taxation, censorship, forced conspiration in the French armies required to control the rest of Europe all seem to be overweigh the advantages of the administrative changes. So, a picture also given over there through which you can understand Napoleon here is represent as a postman on his way back to the France after he lost the Battle of Leipzig in 1813. Each letter dropping out of the bag bears the names of the territories he lost. So figure number 5 in book, the courier of Rhineland loses all that he has on his way home from Leipzig. This picture is given, you can better understand. Question related to this: how did the local people in areas conquered by Napoleon react to the French rule? Explain. 3 mark question. And that's all for today. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.